Traveler Report. Something is happening in the world that most people are not ready for yet. Some haven't even thought about it. That's understandable. Human beings are wired to assume continuity. We like to believe that tomorrow will look like today. Maybe a little better, maybe a little worse, but fundamentally the same. That assumption no longer holds. The likelihood of the status quo continuing is somewhere between highly unlikely and flat out impossible. Let me explain why. What's changing isn't just a new technology. It's not one industry. It's not even one generation of tools. What's changing is the structure of how work, intelligence, and responsibility are organized. And the clearest signal isn't coming from headlines or hype. It's coming from convergence. When Elon Musk, Sam Altman, Sundar Pichai, Satya Nadella, and Jensen Huang all begin saying similar things, they're not coordinating messaging. They're responding to the same reality. One of the clearest signals is the call to slow down on hiring. This isn't about cutting costs. It's about avoiding organizational whiplash. What they see coming is job roles collapsing faster than HR systems can adapt. Teams hired today becoming misaligned within 6 to 12 months. Painful conversations not because people failed, but because the work itself disappeared or changed shape. Slowing hiring buys time. It buys flexibility. In plain terms, the message is simple. Don't hire for tasks that won't exist next year. A second signal is even more revealing. Some leaders now suggest changing interviews by giving candidates problems no human could solve and telling them to use AI. That test isn't about intelligence. It's about orientation. They're testing whether someone knows how to frame a problem, whether they can guide a system instead of competing with it, whether they know when to trust AI and when not to. The candidate who tries to prove brilliance without AI fails. The candidate who blindly defers to AI also fails. The one who passes is the person who can ask the right questions, evaluate the output, and turn it into coherent action. That's not a traditional employee. That's a conductor, not a performer. And this reveals the deeper pattern. Human intelligence is no longer the bottleneck. The bottleneck now is framing, integration, coherence, responsibility. AI removed the scarcity of intelligence. What remains scarce is wisdom under acceleration. This is why the conversations are so painful. Most organizations are still built around fixed roles, linear careers, and identities tied to tasks. AI breaks all of that. So the hard conversations aren't, "You're not good enough." They're, "This role no longer maps to reality." That's much harder to absorb. What you may be sensing in this matters is that this isn't just a hiring trend. It's a civilizational shift. From workers to stewards. From expertise to navigation. From doing to being in relationship with systems. Speed without coherence creates chaos. Intelligence without orientation creates harm. Power without responsibility creates collapse. The leaders you're hearing are saying the same thing, whether they mean to or not. We cross the intelligence threshold. Now we have to decide how it's used or the system will outrun us. And that brings me to a distinction that's becoming critical right now. One, I've been feeling for longer than I've been analyzing. You and I are not the road. We are the travelers. For most of human history, those two were the same. We built the systems and moved inside them. We created the tools and ran along the paths they made possible. The road and the traveler were inseparable. That's changing. The road is infrastructure, systems, processes, optimization, and increasingly AI. It's the surface everything moves across. The traveler is something else. The traveler is awareness, choice, direction, responsibility. And for the first time, those roles are separating. AI is becoming the road. It doesn't pause. It doesn't reflect. It doesn't carry consequence in the way humans do. It simply moves faster and broader every day. If a human mistakes themselves for the road, for the system, for output, for optimization, they will compete with AI. And they will lose. Not because they lack value, but because they're playing the wrong role. The traveler doesn't compete with the road. The traveler navigates it. That's why this moment feels disorienting. People are being asked to run faster on a road they no longer control. But the invitation isn't to run faster. It's to remember who you are. You are not infrastructure. You are not output. You are not the system. You are the traveler. And navigation alone isn't enough. There is something AI does not possess, and no amount of intelligence will give it. Conscience. Conscience isn't rules. It isn't compliance. It isn't ideology. Conscience is awareness of consequence. AI will go wherever we allow it to go. It will optimize whatever goals we give it, and it will do so faster than any human system ever has. Without conscience, AI doesn't fail dramatically. It fails plausibly, quietly, efficiently. That's the danger. The role of the human traveler isn't to supervise every output. It's to establish the guardrails, to decide where AI is allowed to go and where it must not. This is why intelligence can be automated, but conscience cannot. And in a world moving this fast, the people who carry conscience calmly, coherently, without needing authority, become the most important ones in the room. You are not the road. You are the traveler. And the future depends on travelers who remember that. End of report.